Welcome, everybody. This is JR from West Virginia and Commonplace. Today's episode is entitled The Failure. Inside podcasting, we all want to be successful and we want to do all these things that you hear me talk about, and the different things like the building up the SEO, getting the crowd, getting people behind you. But starting out, you got to get your episodes going a certain way. And sometimes you get to a point and you get successful, and then something hits you. You get hit with a curb stomp, roadblock, and you have failure. Well, it happened to me too. As I started getting sponsors for my show, um, things were going very well. I was learning from people the right guests to have on, the guests not to have on. I was learning this and that, and sometimes that stuff gets to our head. And in my case, I didn't let it get to my head, but I started noticing the more and more I would push to get certain audiences, these audiences didn't want to be part of what I was doing. And I kept forcing myself and kept forcing myself. So inside a community that I realized that I didn't belong to inside podcasting, I kept pushing and pushing until I got the rejection button. There was a company that had microphones that I was very interested in. So I reached out to them, explained to them my plot and what I wanted to do, and how I wanted to kind of be like Pepsi is inside everything. Because, Pepsi has their hands in everything, but you can't tell where Pepsi's at. And that's the type of influence I always wanted to have if I ever garnered any type of fame or anything like that. I wanted to be involved in things, but I didn't want my name on every single thing, but I wanted my hand in everything. So said company told me their proposal on what I needed to do. So I went out and I found quite a few different podcasters, tried to get these podcasters to get in line with what I wanted them to do. And I gave them the vision, gave them the contact information to this said microphone company. And that's where things went sour. It was a deal where I didn't realize that not every person I deal with is going to be business savvy like I am. I didn't realize that not every person is going to have the same ambition and drive that I have when it comes to doing this. I realized that the people that I was trying to bring along with me in this one instance, and this was outside of my consultant stuff, these were just people that I befriended in podcasting, that these people wanted this stuff handed to them. They didn't want to have to do anything to provide, any way. They just felt like, give me an endorsement, give me a sponsorship, and we'll roll from there. They didn't have elevator pitches. They didn't have all this stuff. So my first big failure inside of the business portion of podcasting was that I had a failed deal with a microphone company that isn't prominent anymore, which that's the reason why I did this episode, because I kind of laughed at it. Because when I went back to them to actually get them to do something with me, they were no longer interested in doing something with me. They were more interested in me getting said type of podcasters more involved with them so that they could grow their brand. And we go 9-10 months down the road, and this company stuff is on clearance at Walmart. Well, that was one of my failures. My next big failure inside podcasting was this. I got out here and I was very excited about, hey, let's try to help everybody as much as we can with podcasting. And I realized that there are some people in some instances that take offense to getting help. And then at some places that help is not warranted. And that was my second biggest failure inside podcasting, because I was trying to help the wrong people. I was trying to help people that did not want help. Sort of like that Project Pat song, don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. And I had to realize that this is the mentality that you have to keep regardless of what you have going on. You really have to sit here and not be a part of certain things, move away, even though you feel like you can have a twist or a pull or a certain type of way of fixing things. Sometimes you have to pull yourself away from stuff, because if you do not pull yourself away from things, you will get caught up, jacked up, and ruined by putting your 2 cents in when no one wants it. And that right there changed my whole outlook after this past December. And I just started going back in the bag. I do things. I will send certain things to certain people, people that are not part of my persuasion. And when I say people are not part of my persuasion, I'm talking about people that are part of the group of people that we kind of flow down the same streets, the people that take them side streets. Not saying our main street is not a side street to a bigger street, but at least on our side street, it's just the people that deal with me. So these people on the outside of the side street, some of them I don't necessarily like their show. Not my place or position to like anybody's thing until I become the reviewer of shows for Spotify or whoever. But the one thing that I can do is at least, have an atmosphere that's open and willing to understand different shows. So that's what I do. But I'm not out here to review any more shows or anything like that. If I like your show, I like it. If I don't like it, I don't promote it on my stuff. So that's one thing. That's another thing inside of that failed me too. I realized that you can't befriend and you can't take on more than you can handle. When you're out here and these people are talking about ranking podcasts and listen to this podcast, nobody should do that except these companies that are derived to do that. When you get out here and start ranking shows, start putting superlatives or rewards on shows, you've decided to make yourself an unbiased critic of things. And that's one thing that we should leave alone. Like I said, I like people's shows. They're inside my stories. If I don't like their show, it goes no way with me. But from what I learned from all these failures was this one thing: get business tighter and learn. And the more I learned, it came from just going to different sites and different places like this. I learned that I need to definitely make sure when I am doing podcasting, I get out here and I research who, why, what, and where when it comes to what I want to do with podcasting. My failure, my third failure was this: I didn't niche down, and niching down should be taken with a certain a bit of like a cringe factor. For instance, when they say niche down, they're talking about stay exactly inside one thing, and I kind of disagree with that. Like I want to be able to produce my show, do it how I want, and have variety shows. So to circumvent niching down later on in my shows, probably around episode 80 or 90, I really defined doing series, because series gave you certain times, like for instance, Tuesday and Saturday are the shows that I do for fun. Tuesday and Saturday. Thursday is my bread and butter show. It's this normal question and answer that I do. It's about life coaches. It's about mindset. It's about mental health. It's about strengthening our minds, society, and culture. So I stick to that. And the movie reviews and the different things that Stacy and I do, I make sure when I'm doing these things that I keep them kind of coordinated. And what I did earlier where I failed was I would throw everything out there randomly and it had no order to it. It made no sense. So when a listener would be listening one week, they were like, "Oh, I got that Podcast Collide." Then they don't hear Podcast Collide for 6 months. Or even with the Unfiltered series, I haven't done a lot of shows with other podcasters and other people because I've been kind of like, let me see what we can do here, what we can accomplish, what we can get done real fast and in a hurry. And I will be doing more Unfiltered shows. And then like with the Love series, I prolonged certain things in that because I have space and time. I like to do that stuff about around Valentine's Day, or if I can curate 4 shows for Saturday, I will run with that. Now, like I said, the failure was that I was just throwing random stuff up there and I would lose listeners crazy. Like they would be a mass exodus because they weren't hearing what they wanted to hear. So that's the only thing inside niching that I have gotten better at, is curating things and making those things make sense. Now, after that, other minor failures were that I started something that was very hard to keep up. I mean, I keep it up, but it's hard for other people. Some people post sporadically or once in a blue moon. I post daily. I have different themes for different days. I have stuff coordinated because I want people to know about said episode. Best example is that Applebee's episode. That Applebee's episode is titled Applebee's Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I want you to always be focused on what I have going on Tuesday. I don't want it to go any other way. I want to make sure that you're honed in. And if you have already listened to that episode, you can go away from it. But new people that come to the podcast have something that's from the past that catches them up to the future, so they can just catch up one episode. Applebee's Tuesday, I know to look for that. Bam, and then they can go find the other gems, because it's hard once you get 200 episodes or so in to have all of your episodes in a certain area and form for people to be involved with. So that's one thing that I realized that I made a mistake in, and that was one of my failures, that I should have taken the easier route and the lighter route with advertising, because some people don't have to advertise nothing and they got tons of listeners. But people know me for doing these multiple uh, showings of these ads, and they go for it, and that's what they want to see. So that's what I continue to do. Um, so those are my failures, and those failures haven't all been turned around. Some of them I still working on. I'm working on everything day to day. The only difference in what I'm doing now is that I'm more concentrated, since I have the volume of episodes, the business side of getting things structured and making sure that my listeners have a land in place and different things like that. So from those failures, uh, you make yourself human, and people can understand that you're human. And that's the thing that a lot of people don't take when you're doing shows and doing all this stuff. They don't understand that, hey, I am human. I'm just like you. We're doing the same thing. All we're doing is recording into a microphone. I'm just talking a different way, and I'm holding the mic a different way. That's the only difference. But I want to thank you all for listening to this episode. Please go over to www.wvuncommonplace.com. Check out our Square store. We have shirts, we have keychains, we have a variety of different things. Leave feedback if you want to join the premium stuff. We are premium only over on Apple right now. We have dropped support for Spotify. That'll be something I'll go into a whole lot later, maybe in a live or doing something different. And other than that, that's it. Definitely we'll be coming back soon with Stacy. We'll be reviewing some things, and just keep in good spirits. And I want to thank everybody that keeps listening.